I think I figured out that the reason why I often feel like I'm hyperventilating when I first start filming a video, in addition to the fact that I'm just nervous, is that I have to come up a flight of stairs to get here. And so I come racing up and I'm like, okay, here we go, I'm ready, and then I turn the camera on, and then I sit here and I try to say hello like 50,000 times, and I'm out of breath, and then I'm embarrassed because I'm out of breath, even though you never see that part. But you know what? It's the stairs. I'm that out of shape that the stairs make me get out of breath. That's not good. Anyway, speaking of stairs, hey there! Today I have a review of 1967's Up the Down Staircase for you. I'm not sure how well known this movie is these days, but when has that ever stopped me before? This is a story about a new teacher struggling to accustom herself to the difficulties of teaching in an inner-city school. It's like To Sir with Love, which incidentally came out the same year, except instead of Sidney Poitier in England, it's Sandy Dennis in New York City, I think, and there's no signature theme song. It might be an interesting activity to compare and contrast the two movies and the way they show schools in 1967, but I'll leave that project for someone else to do. Sandy Dennis plays Sylvia Barrett, the optimistic English teacher whose confidence and understanding are tested over the course of her first semester. She wants to see her students not as predestined failures left with labels determined by their race or socioeconomic status, but as individuals with latent strengths and possibilities. Unfortunately, it's an uphill battle. The kids hassle her and use her inexperience to their own advantage, and very quickly she finds out how hard she's going to have to work to maintain her positive attitude and make a difference. This idea of treating students as people, not just as juvenile delinquents, is a dominant theme. And so is the idea of not being led astray by preconceived notions. And that I had to figure out the hard way, getting tricked by some preconceived notions of my own in reference to one character, Miss Barrett's charmingly sarcastic fellow English teacher, Mr. Beringer, played by Patrick Bedford. He befriends her, but he's the teasing type who enjoys making fun of her repeated efforts to reach out to students who, in his opinion, are beyond help. There is a girl in Miss Barrett's class who was in his class last year. She's timid, sentimental, drab, and madly in love with him. Now, I get that. I remember having a crush on a teacher or two. I didn't exactly like this girl, but I empathized with her. After all, in her shoes, I might have had a crush on this teacher too. At Miss Barrett's urging, he does a generous thing for this girl, and you can tell she's just over the moon. This is the greatest moment in her life. And I turn to my mom, who I was watching the movie with, and I say, "Oh, that's so nice." And my mom just sits there with this look on her face, and all she says is, "I've seen this movie so many times, I remember exactly what's going to happen." Okay, what does that mean? So I'm still quietly pondering what she might mean by that when, a couple scenes later, Mr. Beringer reveals himself to be an enormous jerk. I won't go into great detail because you know that's not my MO, but I'll tell you this. The girl writes him a love letter, and the way he deals with it is he calls her into his empty classroom, and this is so awful. He goes through the letter out loud, bit by bit, and mercilessly corrects her grammar and makes fun of the way she wrote the letter, and it is so embarrassing. And to make it worse, it has horrible consequences. So I was totally wrong about this guy. I had expectations, I had marked him down as our potential love interest, he was pleasant and attractive and had a nice accent. Yes, he had an attitude problem, but our heroine would be able to fix that, right? No! And I felt awful for the girl. Yes, it was incredibly dumb of her to do such a thing, but still, just because someone is silly and foolish and does something that deserves a reprimand does not give you license to be cruel. Ugh! It made me ill. Mom, she knew it was coming and let me walk right into it. So that part really bothered me, and you know what? It's been weeks, and I'm still upset. Good job, movie. You had a lasting effect on me. In spite of all this angst, or maybe partly because of it, I really liked the movie. Sandy Dennis's performance was very good. I liked watching her character learn and grow. It was a good journey with, ultimately, a good ending. And though it is as dated as you would expect a movie about school in 1967 to be, its messages are still powerful and relatable. I'd intended to read the original book by Belle Kaufman before seeing the movie, but then every time I brought it up, my mom would say, "Oh, I really like that movie, it's really good, you should see it." And so then I couldn't wait any longer. Fortunately, having seen the movie, I still want to read the book and intend to. That's a pretty good sign, right? So let me know if you've seen this one, and if you feel inclined to do a compare and contrast with this movie and To Sir With Love, go ahead and do that in the comments, that's fine. And if you haven't seen this movie, well, I do recommend it. Thanks for watching. Bye!